episode 65 of Off Script with Trish Glose, intimate interviews and fun conversations with interesting people. In front of my microphone today is Dr. Tami Rogers. Hi, Tami Rogers.
Hello.
You're a veterinarian.
Yes, ma'am.
At Jacksonville Veterinary Hospital.
Yes, ma'am.
You are also a very dear friend of mine.
True.
We are fire wives. Our husbands are firefighters. They save lives every day.
Every day. Big time heroes.
I've known you a long time. And you're my vet. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So I've known you, what, more than a decade?
I think that's good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good
You're good with that number?
Yes, it's good. It seems old, but.
So I asked my friend Tami to do this podcast. And the last 2 weeks she's been saying, you can still change your mind.
It's still not too late.
No, you're here and you're interesting and you're smart. You're very, very smart.
That remains to be seen.
Well, you're very good at your job. You just recently, you tell me, you purchased the practice?
I did.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Was that a big decision?
Ginormous. Yeah, it was huge. It was really a big decision.
What was the reasoning behind buying it? Is it just time?
It was time, but I think I started at Jacksonville 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And day 2, I went home and I told my husband, I never want to work anywhere else.
Aw.
And he looked at me and said, that's really presumptive of you. And I said, yes, it's true, but it was just different. And I love the community. I love my staff, and I love that building and place, and it's just become my home. And I knew that my boss was very, very close to retirement. And I also loved him. He was an amazing veterinarian, a really good man. And I couldn't fathom the concept of working for anybody else.
Yeah.
It terrified me. So.
Was that a scary jump to make, though? Buying a practice?
Yes, because I have 2 very small kids.
You do.
So it was a very huge decision for me to make, to take that additional.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about being a veterinarian and all that good stuff. But first of all, where are you from originally?
Born and raised in Sparks, Nevada.
In Nevada?
Yes, ma'am.
How did I not know this? I went to UNR.
I do. You did know this. We did talk.
Okay.
At the beginning of a decade ago.
Was I drinking wine at the time? Okay.
Probably together.
I don't remember. Sparks, Nevada.
Yeah, not super exciting.
I mean, Sparks is a lovely town.
If you like sagebrush and
it's high desert.
Joints.
Yeah, strip joints, sagebrush. There's parts. Tahoe's right there. It's beautiful. Sure. Yeah.
And I don't think I honestly, as a kid, ever went to Tahoe.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just went to my first Oregon Shakespeare Festival play.
See? It's right in your back
door. A couple of years ago. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's really dumb. Did you grow up with siblings?
I have 2 sisters, yes.
Okay. Now, isn't one of your sisters on the East Coast right now?
She is,
Okay,
yeah.
New Jersey, right?
Now Philadelphia, but...
Okay.
Yeah, or Pennsylvania, not Philadelphia.
Okay, and where are you in the lineup with these 2 sisters?
I am smack in the middle.
Oh, no. Middle child syndrome.
Yeah.
Did you have middle child syndrome?
Well, to be honest, no, because I didn't know my younger sister. I didn't know she was actually my sister until we were teenagers. So
wait, what? Back up.
Yeah,
tell me
story.
This. No, that's why we're here, to tell stories. So wait, you have an older sister.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and your younger sister was not in the picture?
She was, but I just was never told that she was my sister, and so. Good surprise. At the time, I didn't realize it, but she's a very fantastic person. And as you know, and unfortunately, we didn't have a chance to really develop a relationship. I was only with my dad. She's a half sister through my dad.
Okay.
And I was only around her during the summertime. And so we didn't really, because we were never told we were sisters, I just kind of brushed her off as dad's girlfriend's daughter.
Wait, what? Crazy. So your parents divorced.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you?
4.
You were 4 years old. And then your dad has this kid that you just assume is kind of like a stepsister kind of thing.
Yeah, his girlfriend at the time was around and wonderful to me and a great person, but they had a child together and, they chose not to share it in that manner. And
why?
Good question. I'm not sure I understand it still to this day, but that's their personal business and okay.
Yeah.
But, now I have a sister.
Crazy.
And, I don't think I found out until I was like 14 years old, that she was my sister. She was just always around as just the kid.
Did you guys, do you look alike?
No.
Okay.
No, we don't.
Okay.
No.
Any similarity, any, as far as personality goes?
Probably not.
I mean, what did you say when they're like, how did that happen? Did they sit you down and be like, hey, we have something to tell you?
No, actually.
Were you eavesdropping on a conversation?
No, my older sister totally ratted him out. It was something that was shared in confidence with her. And and it's funny because it's just it wasn't really that big of a deal. And when I asked my dad about it years later, why didn't you tell us this? It was heartbreaking, his answer. And it's something I will never forget. But he said to me, when your mom left with you and the girls, she took every ounce of love that I had left inside me. And so I have just withdrawn myself and tried to protect you and myself from ever loving that deeply again. And
oh my gosh.
Yes, it was. So there's a lot about it I don't understand. And after that, I just kind of let it lie, because now she's a beautiful, beautiful person, and I love her dearly. And people make choices. We may not understand them, but
kicking off episode 65 with some drama. Woo! I did not know this about you, Tami Rogers. Well, I'm sure a lot of people don't. They do now.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. So okay. So at the time, did you was there anger, or was there just like, no way, that's my sister?
No, because again, I was 14 maybe,
Okay.
and I was just like, meh. I don't really think I didn't understand it, but
Sure.
what was I going to change?
Nothing, right.
And again, I only really saw her, and there's a lot of stuff I regret now about it, looking back and saying, gosh, I should have, taken that on and been more involved in her life as she grew up and took a bigger role. But I was 14, and kids don't know anything at 14.
No, you're a dummy at 14.
Yeah,
and all you care about is yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thankfully I've worked really hard at developing a relationship with her as we've gotten older, and she has wonderful kids and a beautiful family, and I cherish her. She's a really incredible person.
Awesome. Where is she?
She's also in Sparks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And other sisters on the East Coast?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So did you get along with your older sister?
Absolutely not.
No.
We are so night and day difference, and she's probably been one of the greatest surprises of my life. We were very, very different people. Still are to this day, but we've been able to appreciate each other. She led a very different lifestyle than I did, outside of high school and college. And there was a good point in my life where I just said, I'm out for that. You go, you be you, and that's good, and we'll see each other at holidays. And outside of that, I'm just going to kind of do my own thing. And she dramatically transformed her life and became a different person when she got pregnant with her first child. And and I've told her all of this. When I found out, I sat Alan down and said, this one's ours. Won't be long, but we will be raising this child. And I have humbly had to go to her and apologize and ask her forgiveness because I was wrong.
Wow.
She is one of the most amazing people I know. She is an incredible mother.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So sis family's done. Check. You can check that off our list today.
I'm going to just take a sip out of my cool
Please.
face mug here.
Yes. Tami's really excited about the coffee mug that I'm going to let her keep.
I'm so excited about it.
Because you're my buddy and I love you. What were you like in high school? And you went to high school in Sparks?
No, I went to high school in Meridian, Idaho.
Okay. So wait, when did you move to Idaho?
Fourth grade.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So did you stay there?
Until I graduated high school.
Oh, okay. I thought you were born and raised in Sparks, Nevada.
Well, no, yeah, I guess I moved from Sparks in about second grade.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so Idaho. What was living in Idaho like?
So boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Super
Idaho.
boring. Yeah.
Sorry, Idaho.
I have wonderful people that still live there. My best friend still is in Boise, and I love her dearly, but
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to get out.
What were you like in high school?
Boring.
You were boring?
Yeah, I have no exciting stories to tell. It's strong disappointment to my husband. He doesn't believe.
Who has really interesting stories to tell?
You should talk to him because he's actually incredibly interesting, and I have nothing.
He's on my list.
He always says, how can that be possible? How could you have been so good? I was just flat out boring. I have nothing exciting to tell.
Well, I mean, just because you were good doesn't mean you were boring. Like, you weren't a party girl in high school.
No.
Okay.
No. I suppose the only thing super exciting I might have to tell, I was in sports, student council. I was
so typical. Oh my God.
I was an Olympic style weightlifter.
What?
Yeah, see? All these things that you don't know about me.
Really? Wait, what
Yep.
does that mean? Like, you just...
If you've ever watched Olympic style weightlifting,
Uh-huh.
yeah, me and a couple friends did that. I had a coach who still is an Olympic coach.
What?
And he started training our volleyball team so that we could improve our jump and so on and so forth. And I guess I could clean and jerk like a madman. And so,
That's awesome. Clean and jerk?
clean and jerk.
What does that mean? Is that the move?
It's a weight lifting move.
Like, it's like you bring it up here.
You bring it up to your shoulders and then you push it up above. And then the other one, you're going to love this one. It's called the snatch.
I can't. I can't.
It is
The
an
clean and
Olympic.
jerk, it sounds bad enough.
It is an Olympic style weightlifting move. I swear.
That is a terrible name.
I know.
That's a thing still? It's
Yeah.
called the snatch?
the snatch.
Oh, that's so bad. Oh my God. Were you good at the snatch?
No, my girlfriend was really incredible at the snatch because she had a big booty and you have to bottom out in the snatch.
I can't believe this is happening.
I can't believe I just said that.
I love it. I love it. So, in between cleaning and jerking in the weight room, what are your ambitions in life? What did you want to be when you grew up? Did you know in high school?
No, see, that's the thing. I was the kid that like graduated. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Thought I wanted to be a marine biologist, and my dad was doing everything in his power to talk me out of it.
Why?
But that's because he knew I wasn't going to make any money, and I'd end up in research, and
Yeah.
you know, it's a very competitive field, and he tried to talk me out of it. But that's why I moved to Oregon. I packed my stuff even before I graduated high school and moved here and went to OSU.
Did you graduate?
I did.
Okay.
Seniors got done early, so you know we were released early. Packed my stuff, moved, and went back to graduate.
So you didn't even like do graduation?
Oh, I did. I
Okay.
did. But
Okay.
I just left and came back and left again
Why Oregon? Why OSU?
because they had a good marine biology program.
Okay. So you
So-
were sorry, like, Dad, I'm
I'm
going.
like, I'm going.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I got to OSU and then figured out I'm way too late. I probably should have volunteered, you know, at age 5 in some aquarium in order to get where I was going. So
Is
I
it
was
competitive?
extremely competitive. Extremely
Well,
competitive.
I think around this time, because I remember growing up, marine biology was like super trendy
Oh, very trendy.
occupation. Like everybody wanted to be. I think at one point I wanted to be a marine
Yeah. Who didn't?
biologist.
Because we all want to swim with dolphins.
Right, exactly.
Who doesn't want to do that?
Right, and then and I was never good in biology or chemistry, so
Those are hard classes.
I just said no, I'm not going to do that. So you go and decide marine biology is just not. That's not it. So do you change?
I just stayed the course with a biology, zoology
Okay.
degree. And, you know, still was thinking, well, okay, I could go this route. I could go this route. Not really sure. And then one day I was talking to my dad on the phone and, you know, I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to do with myself. And he said, well, what about vet school? And I thought, interesting. And I went and I talked to my counselor at the time, and she looked at my grades, which were admittedly poor because I was working, trying to put myself through college. And she looked at me and she said, you will never get into vet school. And I said, watch me.
What was her name?
I don't remember.
Well, lady,
I don't remember, but she told me it would never happen.
I wonder if. Do you think her telling you that kind of lit a fire inside of you?
It absolutely did. It was a reality for me, for sure. I mean, she was right. My grades were poor, and I had always been a straight A student in high school. It was not hard for me. I did not have to study, and that was the thing. I didn't have to study. I didn't learn how to study until I was in college.
Same. I was a horrible studier.
They don't teach you how to do that.
They don't.
Which is awful. And so it definitely lit a fire. And I changed. I turned my life around, you know, and I just said, you know, I'm not gonna do, I got to go to college, and I'm in college. I have to turn this into something.
Yeah.
So it definitely lit a fire underneath me.
What were you doing? What were you working? Like, what were you doing?
Waiting tables.
Waiting tables?
Yeah.
So, did you sell cars?
No. You had to bring that up, didn't you?
Didn't
Sure
you?
did.
I know this about you. When did you do that?
Well, right before I went to vet school, I was working as a pharmaceutical rep down here.
Yes.
And they fired me because I ruptured a disc in my back, and couldn't work because I couldn't sit, and so I was not able to work, and they fired me. And
that's nice.
It wasn't super cool, but it was honestly probably selling cars was one of the also a big surprise of my life.
Well, your husband Alan says you were fantastic at it.
I was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I think it was refreshing to people to see me walk out versus some of the other guys that were there because they were big, intimidating dudes, and I would walk out, and we worked well together. I met some of the most awesome, caring, kind people of my life selling cars. I learned a lot.
Where did you sell cars?
Lithia Volkswagen.
Ah, V-dubs.
That's right.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you know I drive a Jetta.
I do know that.
Her name's Spanky.
Oh, it's named.
Mm-hmm. Spanky.
I didn't know she had a name.
So you were really good at selling cars. How long did you do this for? And was it specifically to just get some cash, or you just needed a job?
I needed a job before I started vet school. I had applied for vet school, didn't know that I was in, and I was flipping through the pages of the newspaper at the time looking for jobs, and that shows you how old I am. I was looking in the newspaper for a job.
What's that?
and actually, I take that back. We were buying a car because when I got fired, I lost my car, so we had to buy a car, and started talking to a dude, and he said, we're looking for salespeople. They pay you a flat salary, $2,500 for the first 6 months, whether you sell a car or not. And I thought, at least I'll be making something.
Yeah.
And I made a ton of money.
Look at you.
And I had a great time.
Good.
Made some really good friends. People I still talk to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when did you and Alan meet?
Let's see. We've been married for 17 years. We met in 97.
97? Where?
Red Robin in Salem.
Red Robin.
He was the busser, and I went in to see a good friend of mine. And
he was a busboy?
He was a busboy. Had just gotten out of the Army, had a good old high and tight, ears poking out. He was so cute. He was so cute. And I wanted absolutely nothing to do with him.
Of course.
I wanted nothing to do with him. Had just broken up with somebody, and my girlfriend said, just give him your number.
Like, was he flirting with you?
Oh, yes, very much.
Of course.
You know my husband.
He flirts with everybody.
He's so good at it. I call him Casanova.
Yeah, he's such a flirt. Did he have, like, a pickup line?
No.
He asked for your number, obviously.
He just asked for my number, yeah. And we had fun. And we dated for about 3 months and then kind of went our separate ways. And a couple years later,
he showed up?
Yeah, oddly, the gal that I had met him through moved, and I called her phone number and got a Hispanic speaking family. I was a little taken aback by it, and Alan was the only one who I could get a hold of that I knew might have her number. So I called him and said, I need Cheryl's phone number. And we started talking, and are you single? And I said, actually, yes, I am. And I said, are you single? And he said, nope, but I will be.
Oh, stop. That's the cutest thing ever.
Yeah. And then a week later, he called me back and was like, I can't do it. She started crying. But he eventually did break up with her, and it's all in history since.
That poor girl.
I know.
She got dumped. She didn't even know what was coming.
She didn't.
Did you guys, he lived in Salem and you lived, like...
In Corvallis.
Okay. So it was a little bit of a long distance for a while? Okay.
It was. And then when we broke up, and then when we got back together, he was actually in Lincoln City working for Pacific West Ambulance there.
Okay.
And I was still in Corvallis.
Okay. Going to vet school?
No, not at the time. I was actually getting my MBA.
Okay. So when does vet school happen?
Vet school happened after we moved down here. Got my MBA.
That's right.
And I got my MBA to try to get into vet school because I got declined the first time I applied. They said, you need to do better. And it was because the first couple years my GPA brought me down pretty significantly.
Yeah.
And we moved down here. I got a job as a drug rep, and I just felt I hated the job. It was horrible. Good pay, and it's really good for some people, but it was not the right place for me. I was sitting in church one day, and the pastor was talking about work. We all work. And when you are doing a job that you are unhappy with, not only is your integrity at question, but you're never fully able to serve the people around you to your capacity that you have. And it really struck a chord with me. And I went home from that and I said, I got to go back to vet school. I'm miserable and I don't want to be miserable.
No, right. So what vet school did you apply to?
Oregon State.
Okay. How long is vet school? How long's the program?
Vet school itself, once you get in, is 4 years.
Jeez. Gosh. Was it hard?
So hard.
What's hard about it?
The intensity, I think 27 credit units of upper division classes, the amount of material that they push at you. It's hard because you have to learn cats, dogs, pigs, chickens, horses, cows. There's no distinguishing it at Oregon, or separating it. They don't do a small animal track, so you learn everything, every muscle, every nerve, every fiber of all those animals.
It's all different.
And it's all different. Very similar in many ways, but very different. And it's just very intense. And I was away from Alan. He was here, and I was there. That was really hard.
Yeah.
It's emotionally and physically draining, and it was super hard.
Oh, yikes. Did you have a favorite part about vet school?
I made some really amazing friends, for sure. So that's a good part of it. I think one of my favorite parts, which was a surprise to me, was large animal medicine and large animal surgery, my rotations in those things, because I learned so much. And I learned a lot about myself. It was a big surprise. And it just took me by surprise how much I loved it. I don't know. I'm not sure if there was a specific part because it was so brutal. But
did you, in vet school, do you have to work at a clinic somewhere while you're going, or?
During our junior and senior years, we do clinical rotations. The senior year is all about clinical rotations, and so you do rotations all through the large animal hospital, small animal hospital. I actually did a rotation at Jacksonville Veterinary Hospital in my senior year.
Crazy.
And so you spend time in different clinics and different situations. A rotation up at the Portland Humane Society for a couple weeks, so they kind of spread you out and try to expose you to as much as possible.
Okay, and you're working with animals, like dead animals.
Oh no! I mean, when I did my week rotation, for example, at Jacksonville Veterinary Hospital, I spayed and neutered animals. I did surgeries. I saw appointments. It just depended. I did a necropsy rotation where, yes, I was working with all dead animals, but
yeah, I guess so. In school, do you have a class where you're dissecting?
Oh, gross anatomy.
Gross anatomy.
Gross anatomy.
Okay.
The first year is gross anatomy, and we spend a lot of time in lecture and then lab dissecting and learning all the muscles and everything.
Okay. And you knew this was a right fit for you when you started?
I did. And the reason I knew, I was a technician for many years prior to becoming a veterinarian and going to vet school. And I did that so I could see if I really loved the field. And I did. And I was old for vet school. I was 30 when I started. And I remember sitting down with the interview board. There were 6 people on the board. And, they all questioned me. And many of them said, you're crazy. You're a drug rep. You're making this much money. You have a free car. It's insurance. Everything's paid for. Why would you do that to have this amount of loans, which is staggering? You can buy a home for that, to make less than what you're making right now. Why would you do that? And again, I just felt like I have to go to work the rest of my life, and I want to do something that I'm happy with, and I want to be content with where I am and do a good job. And so it was a good fit.
Because most of these students are 23?
I had some in my class that were not even 21 yet when they started. They hadn't even graduated with their bachelor's degree yet.
That's so obnoxious.
I want to hate them, but they were all so stinking sweet. I couldn't.
Well, it's a bunch of animal lovers in a room, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about someone who loves animals. They're okay with me.
Sure.
I feel like I've met a few people who are like, I just don't like dogs. I don't know what it is. I just don't like them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ugh.
I'm not sure I like you anymore.
Yeah. Are you a psychopath? How can you not like dogs?
I don't know. They're so sweet.
Speaking of dogs, can we talk about Isabel?
We can talk about I might cry.
That's okay.
It's likely that I will.
How long did you have Isabel?
13 years.
Dang. She was a little love bug, and she passed away when?
4 years ago.
Mm-hmm. It's hard. It's crazy how hard it still is.
Yeah, it's super crazy.
We lost, as you know, we lost Mia last year, and just now I'm gonna cry. And you think about where you were this time last year, and I just remember her health was deteriorating, and so I was talking with Dr. Bliss, who you know.
She's fantastic.
She is fantastic. We were discussing how this part of the job for veterinarians is so difficult, and we don't think about it as far as like pet owners go. Meaning, I'm not a big fan. I love you, and I love to come see you and bring my animals to you. I was super excited for you to meet Bodhi, but I have PTSD going to the vet's office because sometimes you hear bad news, and I've heard a lot of bad news at the vet's office. And you guys take that home with you.
Yeah, it's a very real thing in veterinary field. They call it compassion fatigue.
That's what I was trying to think of the word, but that's exactly what Dr. Bliss said.
Yeah, they call it compassion fatigue, and it's very, very real. And one of the things I learned in vet school, and I really take this to heart, it's never about me. It's never about me, as hard as it is, you know, and I gave some folks some very bad news today. It's not about me at the time. As hard as it is, it's always about them. And but it's very difficult at times, sometimes more than others. There are times where, because I do believe that euthanasia is a gift, and it's something that we get to give our pets as their sort of peaceful passage, and we all should be so lucky to pass in our own home, surrounded by the people that we love the most, holding you. I mean, everyone I've ever talked to has said, if I could go that way, that's the way that I would choose to go.
Totally.
Right? But on the other side of it, as an owner, we're the ones that are making that decision. We're picking a date, which seems, and I have had people ask me, and in a way that is not kind, you know, and call me a murderer, which is
Wait,
brutal.
what?
Oh, it's, yeah. Because there are some people that flat out do not believe in it, which is fine. It's very fine, and I can understand.
They don't believe in euthanasia. They believe in letting your animal
and so they will
suffer.
They just let them pass, and so I've had people say some pretty harsh things, and it's but it's a gift, and we get the ability to ease suffering in a way that's very peaceful, and it is also an art. It can be done right. And it can be done wrong, and I've seen it done wrong, and go not well, but it you know, it's peaceful.
Yeah.
When it's done right.
When did you get Izzy? I know you said you had her for 13 years.
13 years, yeah. So
did you get her here?
We did, yeah. And she was a hot mess, wreck, backyard breeder. I never should have bought her. Knew full well, but stinking adorable.
She's a pug?
She was a pug, yeah.
Yeah. And your baby.
Oh, man.
Oh,
yeah.
my gosh.
Yep.
No one loved that dog more than you. Alan?
Sadly, I think that, well, I don't think he loved her more than me, but he loved her just as much.
Yeah.
And it surprised him.
Yeah.
He didn't want her at all.
No?
No. Did not want her at all.
What are some really good memories of her?
Gosh, I have so many, because she was, when I went to vet school and left Alan here, I took her with me. And she was with me all the time. And we spent so many hours together, but I have so many memories. She was a big dog in a little dog's body, and would hike with me. I remember one time Kelly Wright, also a fire wife, she and I, we were up camping, and we were at Diamond Lake, and we hiked 10 miles one day, and Isabel was right behind us the whole way. She would snowshoe with us, and she would jump through these snowdrifts and just drop down, and then she would spring back up and jump down, and then finally when she would get tired, we'd stuff her in a backpack and carry her the rest of the way. And I have so many memories of her, just, you know, she did everything with us. She did everything.
Yeah. There, you know, like I said, we had to put Mia down last August, and so what surprised me, I think, because you get super emotional about it, and I think there's probably a part of, at least for me, there's a part of my brain that's thinking, this is just a dog. but it's not. It's not just a dog. And I think what surprised me the most was the amount of support I got from friends and just people who, friends and acquaintances. And I mean, I got cards and I got, donations to So Humane in her name.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't believe, I think we've reached a different point in our society when it comes to animals and our pets. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. It's very different than
so different
when we were kids even, and let alone our grandparents.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things for me, and when we lost our dog, my husband's dog, that he had before we were together, I found this little saying, and it goes something like, dogs make the most amazing friends. They ask no questions. They pass no criticisms. And it's so true. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. We all have bad days. And I can be horrible to the people around me and in general because I'm in a bad mood. And you can be at your worst. And you walk in the house and your dog is so excited to see you.
So excited.
And it doesn't matter how big of an asshole I was that day. They and it's it's just so unbelievable. They love you like nothing else. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's extremely powerful.
It is. But I mean, I was at an event literally the very next week, and someone came over to me and gave me a hug and said, "I'm so sorry." And I was like, "Thank you." And he goes, I think it's harder than losing a human in your life at times. It can be, depending on the relationship. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And so on one hand, I kind of was like, well, if I can get through this, if I can grieve this, then that kind of makes me, I feel like a strong person. But it's still tough. I mean, it's still, here you are 4 years in, and it's still tough.
I think the hardest part for me was I actually didn't get to say goodbye to Isabel because she passed when I was out of town. And it was heartbreaking because, and I will never forget it. I was in a rush to get out of town, and I took her to my veterinary hospital, and I passed her to one of my technicians and was like, "I'm late, I gotta go," gave her a little kiss on the cheek and ran out the door, and I never saw her again. And I just always felt like it would be different. I always envisioned being the one that was there with her and helping her pass. Yeah. And I regret that very deeply, but I loved her desperately.
And she knew that. She knows that. Okay, we're going to move on before we start bawling.
Good idea.
I've told this story before on this podcast, but the very next day after you came over and you put Mia down for us, which was an absolute gift. I was in the salon, and my hairdresser is, I'm so sorry, whatever, and we're sitting down doing my hair, and towards the end of the visit, this gorgeous woman walks past us, behind us, and my hairdresser goes, "Hi, Mia, I'll be with you in a second."
Wow.
Crazy, right?
That is crazy.
I started bawling, and she was like, "Trish, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "No, that's amazing. That's like, I feel like that's my dog saying,
It's okay.
I'm okay, Mama."
Yeah.
So I've told that story before, but I love that story. I cherish that. Absolutely cherish it. Getting back to compassion fatigue, though, have you felt that personally? Do you come home, because you're carrying all of this with you. Every client that you see that you have to deliver bad news, that's coming right on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have felt it. I have felt it for sure. And there are times where, I'll euthanize 2 or 3 pets in a day.
Jeez.
And
that's a lot of emotion.
It is a lot of emotion. And one day in particular, I had 2 that I was doing at the same time. 2 families in 2 separate rooms. Big groups of people in the room with a lot of emotion.
Jeez.
And both of the families requested that I be there with them, and I shed a lot of tears walking between those 2 rooms with those families as they poured their hearts out and said goodbye to their friends. And again, I it's never about me, but the one thing that I always have the hardest time with, especially when people are very attached, is I really do feel like I'm stealing something from someone.
Yeah.
So it's real for sure.
Well, and it's hard too as a pet owner because you don't know, in Mia's case, I know we called you on a Monday and you basically said, we need to pick a day this week. And I'm like, how do you pick a day
Yeah.
to say? It's just, it
Yeah.
blew my mind. And it's not like, I get it, I understand, because the last thing I wanted was for her to suffer. But we knew it that morning, the day of. I saw it in her face. She was just done. And it's just like, I don't, like you said, it is a gift. I think it's so incredible that you can choose when you say goodbye to your best buddy. Have you had, I know you've had some crazy cases at this clinic in the last several years.
Sure. You want me to give you one?
I want one, yeah.
Crazy cases.
I want something good. Maybe something a little dirty. Not as dirty as the clean and jerk. This is PG.
Okay. Crazy cases. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't.
I mean, you can't talk about like poop because you get pooped on all the time.
All the time.
Peed on all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
I get worse. I get sprayed with anal sacs. That's worse.
That is the worst. Those anal glands.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Let's talk about that really quickly.
All right.
Where are they located
Really, we have to talk about this.
in the beehole? Where are they? They're inside, right?
They lie just underneath the skin at the 4 and the 8 o'clock position.
4 and 8 o'clock position. Okay, so lower.
Right.
Yes.
Right here.
Yes. Show everybody on the camera.
Here.
But they're inside, right?
They're underneath the skin, and there's a small duct that leads to the anal opening. And if you watch your dog poop closely at the end of defecation,
You'll see it.
you will see as their external anal sphincter squeezes, little drops, drip, drip.
Nice. Oh, so every time they poop,
Yes.
they're supposed to
They're supposed to express them on their own.
but it doesn't always happen, and they get, some of them are impacted, and you
And
get
I-
to.
I do. And my
Expel
wonderful
that.
staff.
Yes.
They love it.
I mean, I think it's like popping a zit, right?
Yes.
That can bring a lot of satisfaction.
very rewarding, except
Right.
for it's much stinkier.
Oh, it's awful. It's
Much
yes.
stinkier.
I mean, I know what the smell is like, and it doesn't necessarily bother me. I think it stinks. I'm not like, oh, that's delicious, but I think it stinks. Chuck can't do it. My husband, Chuck, like he's just like, oh.
Same. Alan's a gagger. It's
Yeah.
It cracks me up.
And I'm just like, really? The calls that you go
I
on
know,
and the
I
stuff
know.
you see and smell and
We have a very strict deal. Except with my kids. Like when we raft on the Rogue River,
Yeah.
you got to take your own pooper.
yeah.
I'm out. You picked your field. I picked mine. You deal with the human feces on that raft trip and elsewhere, unless it's my children's. And I will do the animal stuff because he will gag all the way home. And I love him so dearly, and it's so funny.
So wait, he on rafting trips with just you and your family?
Well, no, like when we just went down the Wild and Scenic
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago with some friends, couple other firefighters. You have to take the groover.
Yeah, you have.
Pack it in and pack it out. So you
Right.
pack a toilet. Not my job.
No, okay,
Not my job.
right. And he gags the whole way home.
He does not. See, that's the thing. Like, you do that,
Oh,
and
he-
I will express the anal sacs. I will clean up the dog poop. My husband will walk around piles of dog poop and vomit in our home if they ever occur. He will bypass them.
What a baby!
He's totally out because he will gag.
But bring on the human poop.
He can do it, and I know. Oh man, yeah, the stuff that they see, but he's out for that.
Yeah, that's so
Ow.
funny. I know. I hear, Chuck comes home
Oh,
and will tell me about
you
some of
hear
the stuff.
stories.
It's crazy.
Blows my mind. Blows my mind.
And I'm like, get in the shower,
Yeah. Don't touch me.
sanitize.
I love you.
All right, let's talk about your kiddos.
Okay.
Miss Marin, just a princess.
Yeah.
So you guys were trying to have a baby. You were having a tough time.
To say the least.
That was a really low point in your life.
Yeah, very much.
You had, how many miscarriages did you have?
Oh, we're gonna go there.
Yeah.
Okay. 7.
7, Tami. And this was heartbreaking for you. I mean, I remember we were hanging out in my living room talking about this, and you guys wanted a baby so badly, and it was a struggle for you guys.
Yeah, it was very painful.
So talk to me though. Crazy story. You're trying all these different things to have a baby.
I tried a lot of stuff.
When you were dealing with, because there's so many women out there, I know several right now who have had miscarriages and then just gave birth and, you know, super happy, but the low of a miscarriage is pretty low.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very low.
Yeah. And there's a lot of women who are dealing with that right now.
And miscarriage is very normal and
super normal.
You know, in a way it's healthy. I mean, that's your body's way of telling you that this baby may or may not have been viable or healthy or may have had birth defects, which nobody wants that. You know, we all want a healthy child.
Of course.
But I had a laundry list of other things that were going wrong with me. Enzyme deficiencies, low thyroid gland, you know, all this other stuff that when added together, I just could not maintain a pregnancy.
Yeah. And I'm sure at some point in all of that, you know, you're putting all of that on you.
Oh,
know?
Very much so.
This is all my fault.
Yes.
What am I not doing right?
Yeah. And I did everything, and I changed my entire life. No alcohol, no this, no that, no other. 8 specific ways. I did everything I could to try to change things.
How long were you guys trying? Was it over like a couple of years or?
Gosh, it's been so long ago now. Yes, many years. Yeah. And ultimately, you know, I had doctors tell me it's very possible you will never have children.
And that was heartbreaking for you.
It was very heartbreaking. We had so many procedures. And infertility, I mean, I'm not the only one that's ever struggled with this. And it's so demeaning. It's so demeaning when you finally get lumped in that classification medically as having infertility issues. Mm-hmm. Doors don't open for you until you pay for your services first because none of it is covered. And you're in the office weekly for blood draws and ultrasounds and this test and that test and the other. And I remember being raw and emotional and standing in front of the receptionist surrounded in an office, an OBG office, by pregnant women. Just like the worst insult. And not that I would begrudge any of them of a healthy baby.
No,
but it was just salt in the wound.
Yeah.
And standing in front of people when all I wanted to do was escape to the back so that you could then tell me I was losing another child. It was devastating on so many levels.
Right. I think you went to like try acupuncture?
I did try acupuncture, and honestly, I really believe that is a major, major component for both of my children. Why I was able to get pregnant.
But there was something, I feel like you were about to try something. You were about to go do something.
IVF. I was signed up for IVF and supposed to start IVF.
And?
I had started acupuncture because when I went up and counseled with OHSU infertility department, when we went up for the treatment and the implantation, they said you have to bring an IV or a acupuncturist with you, and after we implant, then we take you in and your acupuncturist does acupuncture to increase blood flow to the uterus. And I thought, well, if you want me to do it then, maybe I should just be proactive and start it now.
Yeah,
can't hurt, right? I'm willing to try anything at this point.
Right.
And Jen Collins is an amazing woman, Ashland Holistic Health, and she absolutely changed everything for me. One of my major issues was the lining of my uterus was not thick enough to support fetal development. And within a few months of having regular acupuncture, my uterine lining was tripled in size, in depth. And the doctors were blown away by it. I mean, it really made a big difference. And I mean, I make this jokingly, but I truly, if Jen had said, listen, I'm going to pee on your head because it helps, I probably would have let her do it.
Right here. Pee away.
Go ahead, please, because I have I was very, and she says too, you know, Tami, you're very responsive to acupuncture therapy. Not everybody is like that. But I started it with the intent of doing IVF. And my husband, we were about ready to start IVF. They were monitoring me via ultrasound. Yeah. And he went hunting, and I got a phone call from my doctor that said, "You're a go. Everything is looking great." They put the phone call into up at OHSU, and OHSU called me and said, "We're ready. You are going to be expecting a phone call from a pharmacy and you need to approve your first shipment of medications for this cycle. Okay. And it's going to be $5,800 $70, something like that. And I was just blown away. Still knowing, I knew it was coming, but I was staggered by it. And my husband was gone. And I couldn't say to him, okay, are we good? Are we ready to go? And it was right after Thanksgiving. It was hectic, crazy time. And I was overwhelmed, and I confided in a friend. I don't do those things without my husband. I mean, he's my rock and my foundation, and I consult him with everything. And so the fact that he was not there for me to lean on and say, okay, we're pulling the trigger. This is it. $5,800. This is the first step down the road.
Yeah. Are we
good? And my friend said, then why not wait? You can always do it. There's no 1 month for IVF. You can do it next month when he gets home. And I felt so freed. It was, yes, you're right. Absolutely. Okay. So I called the pharmacy and I just said, you know what? We're just going to hold off. We're going to get through Christmas. Come January,
I'm in.
We're good to go. But right now I've got so much on my plate. I can't deal with this, and I need my person. I need him. And 2 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I will never forget ever, ever, ever the moment they laid my daughter in my arms.
That's awesome. When you found out you were pregnant, were you just like
Terrified.
Terrified.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day until she was in my arms.
Yeah.
And the same with my son.
Yeah. Yeah, you had 2.
And I had multiple miscarriages in between, and every day. And it was a point of tension for my husband and I, for sure. He wanted me to be happy.
Yeah.
But I couldn't be because I was terrified.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You're talking about 9 months of not knowing.
Of fear.
Fear.
When is it going to happen? And
yeah.
Every time I would have a pain, I was terrified.
I bet.
I was terrified.
And now you have 2 incredibly beautiful children.
I do.
Yeah. I'm sorry I'm making you cry a lot.
I know. Do you do this to everybody?
Yeah.
It's awful.
No. No, you're not the first crier.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. It's a good story though.
It is a great story.
Because there's so many women out there that they're going through this right now.
And I didn't understand it. I still don't.
Yeah.
I still don't understand. But I have been able to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
And just share. For sure.
I think just the idea of like, hey, I went through that.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And I'm sorry.
Yeah. It does. And everybody's is different.
Sure.
Everybody's is different, but it's painful.
You're one of those, I call you a Wonder Woman. I have a certain amount of people in my squad, in my tribe that are Wonder Women. And that means they can just sort of do everything, because you were on maternity leave, but not for long, right?
No, yeah. And unfortunately, no. I mean, with my daughter, I was 10 weeks, which is good. More than what a lot of people get.
Yeah, but you're taking care of this baby, you're working, you're taking care of your house, and you're doing it all by yourself. I mean, Alan, of course, is helping you. Mm-hmm. I mean, but sometimes I feel like Alan's your third child. Sometimes.
It's true.
A little bit.
It's true.
A little bit. We love him, but yes, it takes a village to raise
It does. It
Alan.
takes a village.
But you're just, I mean, you just do it all. And I remember I came to see you one weekend when Marin was still little, and you've got like hundreds of jars of baby food that you made. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And then you're like had to work that week, and then you're like cleaning your house, and I'm just like, damn, Gina, like you're just doing all of it. Wonder Woman. You're a Wonder Woman.
I'm not sure that's well deserved, but I try.
I think it is. Also because Marin is probably one of the most well-behaved, well, at the time. I haven't seen her in a while.
Oh, she's fantastic. Both of my kids are fantastic. But yes, my daughter is amazing.
Because of you, though. Like, she was, when we had dinner at your house, and she was, like, getting over a cold, and she's coughing into her elbow like a little princess and saying, excuse me, and please and thank you, and she's, like, 4. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. She's a good gal.
We just like a dog, when you take a dog somewhere, you don't ever want to be that person that is like, oh, you can't have the Rogers over because they have the obnoxious dog.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And being a parent, I thought vet school was super hard, but being a parent is so hard. And I never had kids before I had kids.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing every day. It's the hardest job, and it's so humbling. And it's our job, mine and Alan's, to make them somebody and to make
raise
them,
a good human.
Yeah, to raise a good human that other people want to be around.
Yeah.
And so far, we're doing an all right job, I think. Our kids are both exceptional people, and they're giving and they're caring. They're amazing.
It's like socialization, like you said, with a dog.
Right.
I'm doing Bodie. We're going through the same thing with Bodie.
Yes.
We're trying to take him to brewery. Like, see, you need a brewery or a winery where you can
just take your kids.
Kids are allowed, and
Yeah.
They go through like politeness training or something while they're. I don't know.
It's all practice.
Yes, it absolutely is. And then you texted me, actually. Talk to me about Operation Backpack. This is something you started at Marin's school.
Yeah. That's a pretty awesome program. I have learned so much. First of all, I have a huge shout out to any teacher. Like, I have such a huge respect for educators. And I really, really gained that appreciation when my daughter started kindergarten last year. And we're in the Rogue River School District, which is a pretty poor school district. With a lot of kids that have some deep needs. And being in that school and being there and volunteering in my daughter's classroom was and has been one of the most amazing experiences of my life, because I get the opportunity to go in and just love on kids who, some of them don't have anybody else in their life who, other than their teacher, really believes in them. And I was really struck last year or 2 years ago now, when she was in kindergarten, by the need for kids, and not only how hungry they were for attention and love and affection, but how hungry they were.
Yeah.
They were hungry, and knowing that many of them on the weekends had no food. And so weekends are tough, because they go home, and outside of their free lunch at school, they don't get dinner, they don't have food on the weekends, and it broke my heart.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking.
And so with the help of some really amazing people, I started a program called Operation Backpack at Marin School. And last year, we were able to send a backpack full of food home with 19 kids on the weekend through the entire school year. And hoping to expand it more this year.
Every week?
Every weekend.
Wow.
Every weekend. Myself and a couple other people would go.
That just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And really amazing, because I remember the first week that we delivered backpacks and the kids were pulling stuff out, and there was a little boy over a can of chicken noodle soup was jumping for joy.
Oh my gosh.
Chicken noodle soup.
That's the cutest thing I've ever
heard. How many
heard.
cans of that do you have in your pantry, or do you have like that we take for granted?
Oh, man.
And this little boy was over the moon excited over this can of soup. And
yeah, you're doing something right when you get that reaction.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty incredible. So this is Rogue River School District. Do you do it just for her class?
No, it's 19 kids that were through the school, identified not by me. They were identified by the educators.
I see.
Picked
Okay.
them based on their need and what they know. Many of them on the homeless list. And so they picked them, and then, we would pack the backpacks every weekend, or every Friday or Thursday if it was a long weekend, and over the holidays, and send them with food.
That's amazing. And you're going to do it again this year?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, we're going to wrap up. I'm not going to make you, well, I don't know. You may still cry. I don't know.
Oh, I'm a very emotional person.
Same here. I'm the worst. Like, I can't. You know the videos of the dog, the reunions with the dogs, and like people coming back from like a deployment.
Yeah, every time.
I lose it. I just lose it.
Yeah.
Okay, final 3. Best advice you've ever been given.
That was hard. You told me about this, but I don't know. Do you want as a professional, as a mom, or a wife?
All of it.
All right.
Give me all of it.
All of it. As a wife, to look to one another's interests, not merely your own. Pay attention to what's important to him as well. Even though I don't get pack goats and why we need 15 of them, it's really important to him.
I didn't know you guys had goats.
We do. We only have 5. Bruce, Doug, and Steve, Larry, and Kevin.
One more time, please.
Bruce, Doug and Steve, Larry and Kevin.
I do need to have Alan on this podcast.
You do.
Okay, I like that. Let's
pay attention to what's important to him, even though it's not to you. As a mom, leave the party on a good note. So before your toddler hits chocolate mess meltdown, pick them up and leave, which is really hard to do. And then as a professional, make a plan. Make a plan and stick to it.
Good stuff.
Yeah, very basic, simple stuff, but those would probably be it. Some
of the best advice I feel like is just very, very basic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Nike, just do it.
Right. And it's probably, I did a lot of soul searching and thinking. I'm sure somebody else has said something much deeper and more profound, but it's the simple little things that I can remember like that.
No. That's, I've heard a lot of really good advice on doing this podcast. So if you ever left this place, what would you miss the most? What would bring you back here?
Good question. I think home is wherever my family would be, my husband and my kids. So I could take that anywhere and make home. But I think it would probably be the people that I know. I have some amazing people in my life, people who have learned me and my husband, and they love us for our ugly, regardless, and they accept us for who we are, and that's pretty hard to find.
Yeah, totally. My mom was just in town, and we were talking about friendships. And one of her very best friends who actually passed away, she had breast cancer, but we talk about her all the time, Miss Gloria, one of the most fantastic women on the planet. She was the party. Everybody loved her. She was hilarious. But she said, we love our friends, warts and all. And my mom said that like several times while she was here, and it's so true.
Yeah, it is. And then you have friends, and there's some that can accept you for your faults, and honestly, I would put you and your husband right up there on the top of that. I've never met two people who are more accepting and loving than the two of you put together and combined.
Well, goodness, thank you.
So I think that's probably what brings me home.
That would be good. Yeah, friendships for sure.
Yeah,
important. Okay, final meal, final drink. What would that look like for you? Your last day of food on the planet.
You're a foodie, and so you'll probably be appalled by this.
You're a foodie too.
I am. But the only thing that I could come back to is if I had a choice, my grandma would make me a grilled ham and cheese sandwich.
Brilliant. I love grilled ham and cheeses, by the way.
I remember so many times showing up at her house as a kid, late through college, and I would drive there, and I don't know why, but she always made me a grilled ham and cheese sandwich, and I've never felt more at home, never felt more loved, and then that just simple little thing.
I know.
So
that's awesome.
That'd have to be that.
Okay, and what you drinking?
Oh, a glass of wine, for sure. I don't know if my grandma would go for that. She didn't drink wine, but I'd have a glass of wine with my grandma and a grilled cheese sandwich.
Brilliant.
Best meal ever.
Yeah, it's awesome. This was a lot of fun, Dr. Tami Rogers.
Thanks. I had fun, too.
From Jackson. Did you?
I did. Although you made me cry multiple times, yeah.
Only like 3 times.
Only 3 times, and I said things I never thought I would share.
Yeah! Go me!
I didn't know if I could say no to you.
Brilliant. You can say no to whatever, but, the miscarriage thing, I wanted to talk about that because it was a huge part of your life, and I think it's important to share that kind of stuff with people because who knows, there could be someone listening to this later and go, wow, that really helped me out.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, spread the love.
Absolutely.
All right. If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes and you like it, please subscribe, rate, and review. It helps other people find us. We're also on Google Play and Stitcher. You can check out the video portion at ktvl.com. Just click on features and then off script one more time. My good friend, I hope we're still friends after this, Tami Rogers. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.